Good evening, all. Let's begin with today's session. Look at the first question. With reference to China's Justice Mission 2025 military drills, consider the following statements. The first statement says the drills involved coordinated operations by China's Army, Navy, Air Force, and missile units around Taiwan. Absolutely correct. Second statement says the exercises were conducted primarily as a response to Taiwan's formal declaration of independence. So, no such declarations have been made by Taiwan. Second statement is incorrect here. The question is which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So, correct answer would be option A. Now, the question is why we picked up this statement. See, America is targeting Greenland, Venezuela, right? America is also targeting the Panama Canal, right? अब रिसेंटली व्हाट अमेरिका इज डूइंग, अमेरिका ने वेनेजुएला के आसपास में रशिया और चाइना बाउंड टैंकर्स को, जो ऑयल टैंकर्स हैं उसको, उनकी एंट्री उनके एग्जिट को यहाँ पे प्रोहिबिट किया। इनफैक्ट 4-5 रशियन बाउंड टैंकर्स को यहाँ पे कैप्चर भी कर लिया। अब इसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है कि टेंशंस फ्यूल हो रहे हैं चाइना, रशिया और अमेरिका के बीच में, राइट। इनफैक्ट अमेरिका इज सप्लाइंग वेपन्स टू ताइवान, मतलब अमेरिका ताइवान के वेपनाइजेशन पे काम कर रहा है। सो देर आर स्ट्रॉन्ग चांसेस दैट चाइना मे अटैक ताइवान इन द नियर फ्यूचर। क्लियर। सो इस तरह के कई आर्टिकल्स पब्लिश हुए हैं द हिंदू, इंडियन एक्सप्रेस और द डिप्लोमेट में, एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी पिक्ड अप दिस क्वेश्चन. Before we proceed, look at the explanation part, and we'll also be exploring the geographical features of Taiwan. China launched Justice Mission 2025 drills around Taiwan with the live fire exercises. Right? अब एक बार यहाँ पे ताइवान का मैप देख लीजिए. So look at the map of Taiwan. So here we have Taiwan in between China and Taiwan. So Taiwan क्या है? That is Republic of China, and China is known as the People's Republic of China. Right? So People's Republic of China was set up somewhere in 1949. If I'm not wrong, it was 1st of April 1949. In between China, the mainland China and the Republic of China, we have Taiwan Strait, the Strait of Taiwan. Right? Do remember that Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Cancer passes through the Republic of China, means Taiwan. In the south, we have Luzon Strait. So Luzon Strait is situated between Taiwan and Philippines, right? अब यहाँ देख रहे हैं आप वेस्टर्न एंड पे, यहाँ पे साउथ चाइना सी है, यहाँ ईस्टर्न एंड पे आपके पास में यहाँ पैसिफिक ओशन है, और यहाँ नॉर्दर्न एंड में ईस्ट चाइना सी है. सो डू रिमेंबर ऑल दीज लोकेशंस. नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू दी next question. With reference to Operation Absolute Resolve, consider the following statements. The first statement says it refers to a US-led military incursion that resulted in the removal of President Nicolas Maduro from the power in Venezuela. Absolutely correct. The second statement is the operation was officially justified by America on the grounds of restoring democratic governance and securing the strategic energy interest. Absolutely correct. So which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So both these statements are correct here, both 1 and 2. So C for Calcutta would be the correct answer. Now look at the explanation part. So America का justification क्या है यहाँ पे इस operation का? America justified the operation citing democratic restoration, regional security, and protection of a strategic oil interest amid geopolitical instability. Clear? That's the reason. Now let's move on to the next question. With reference to Socotra Island, consider the following statements. This island is located in the Indian Ocean and is politically part of Yemen. Absolutely correct. It is known for its exceptionally high level of endemic plant and animal species, and it was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2008. Which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So both these statements are correct here. C for Calcutta would be the correct answer. Why we picked up this question? Look at the explanation. So around 400 tourists stuck on Socotra Island as flights halted over Yemen fighting. Clear? सो यमन में जो हाउती रेबल्स हैं जो फाइट कर रहे हैं यमन की गवर्नमेंट के साथ में, उसकी वजह से यहाँ पे ट्रैफिक जो है वो डिसरप्ट हुआ. 400 टूरिस्ट जो है यहाँ पे स्ट्रक हो गए थे, इस वजह से दिस वाज द न्यूज एंड वी पिक्ड अप दिस क्वेश्चन. नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. विद रेफरेंस टू ओपेक प्लस, consider the following statements. The first statement is OPEC Plus was formed in 2016 as an extension of OPEC to include the major non-OPEC oil producing countries. Absolutely correct. It was set up in 2016. So OPEC plus the oil producing countries like Russia, like Kazakhstan. Second statement is OPEC plus currently consists of 12 OPEC members plus 10 non-OPEC members. Means the 10 non-OPEC oil exporting countries including Russia and Kazakhstan. Absolutely correct. So which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be both 1 and 2. So C for Calcutta would be the correct answer here. Why we picked up this question? There's a strong reason. So OPEC plus agreed to maintain a steady oil output amid geopolitical uncertainty. So you can see here, OPEC was created in 2016 to expand the coordination beyond OPEC by including the major non-OPEC producers, right? And when the OPEC was set up in 1960 by five founding members. And who are the five founding members? So Iran, Iraq, then Kuwait, then Venezuela, and finally Saudi Arabia, right? So Venezuela was one of the founding members of OPEC in 1960, and the headquarters of OPEC is situated in Vienna, Austria. Clear? So do remember that OPEC Plus was set up in 2016 by expanding the scope of OPEC. तो यहाँ पे OPEC Plus में जो major oil producing countries हैं उनको भी यहाँ पे शामिल कर लिया गया. Now let's move on to the next question. Ladakh's silent warriors, recently news, are best described as what? They are nothing but the double-humped camels native to high altitude cold deserts and listed as critically endangered. See, these are the Bactrian camels and they're found in the Central Asian region, particularly in the Gobi Desert, in the Taklamakan Desert, and in the Nubra Valley of the cold desert of Ladakh, right? So the correct answer would be B for Bombay. Now the question is why this topic was in news and why we picked up this question. So there is a strong reason. Recently an article was published which says that Ladakh's double-humped camel to make debut parade on Republic Day. राइट तो 77th रिपब्लिक डे परेड जो है उसमें इनको पोर्ट्रे किया जाएगा एंड they are classified as critically endangered on the IUCN red list. Clear? Now let's move on to the next question. The Putific Space Base, earlier known as the Thule Air Base, is strategically important for the United States of America primarily because it is located where? It is located in Greenland, providing Arctic missile warning and space surveillance. See, this is the location from where America can carry out the surveillance of Russia. तो यहाँ पे चाहे वो मिसाइल डिफेंस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हो, स्ट्रेटेजिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हो, चाहे वो स्पेस सर्वेलेंस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हो, या फिर वो इंटरकॉन्टिनेंटल बैलिस्टिक मिसाइल के सर्वेलेंस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हो, ये लोकेशन बेहद क्रिटिकल है. सो आर्कटिक रीजन में अगर अमेरिका को अपने हेजमनी, अपने कंट्रोल को अगर इस्टेब्लिश रखना है, इंटैक्ट बनाए रखना है, तो ग्रीनलैंड पे उसका कंट्रोल बेहद जरूरी है, राइट? सो अमेरिका इज ट्राइंग इट्स लेवल बेस्ट कि वो कम से कम वेस्टर्न हेमिस्फेयर में अपनी हेजेमनी को इंटैक्ट बनाए रखे. व्हाई? बिकॉज ईस्टर्न हेमिस्फेयर में अमेरिकन हेजेमनी इज बीइंग चैलेंज्ड बाय चाइना एंड देन रशिया. सो अमेरिका चाहता है कि कम से कम वेस्टर्न हेमिस्फेयर में उसकी हेजेमनी बने रहे. इसलिए आपने नोटिस किया होगा कि ग्रीनलैंड, पनामा और वेनेजुएला, इन तीन कंट्रीज पे उसकी नजर, और ये तीनों कहाँ है? वेस्टर्न हेमिस्फेयर में. Right? Now let's move on to the explanation part. This Putific Space Base is located in northwestern Greenland and is the US Space Force northernmost command installation, critical for the missile warning, missile defense, and space surveillance, especially for detecting the ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles over the Arctic, operating under a US-Denmark defense agreement. See, Greenland is the world's largest island and politically it is governed by Denmark. Clear? So Greenland जो है यहाँ पे एक ऑटोनॉमस गवर्नमेंट जरूर है, लेकिन इसके फॉरेन अफेयर्स, डिफेंस अफेयर्स, राइट, और कम्युनिकेशन, इसको कंट्रोल करने का काम किसका है? डेनमार्क का है, राइट? नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. With reference to expenditure made by an organization or a company, which of the following statements is oblique are correct? The first one is acquiring new technology is capital expenditure. Absolutely correct. Upgradation of technology is indeed a capital expenditure. Second statement says debt financing is considered capital expenditure. No, that is not at all expenditure, right? That is actually like the income, not the expenditure part. Debt जब आप किसी कंपनी से लेंगे तो आपके पास फंड्स आएंगे, इनफ्लो ऑफ फंड्स होगा, ना कि आउटफ्लो ऑफ फंड्स होगा, right? It depicts the inflow of funds, not the outflow of funds. So second statement is incorrect here. Question is select the correct answer using the code given below. So correct answer would be A for Ahmedabad, only one. Now look at the explanation part. Acquiring the new technology creates a long-term asset or enhances the productivity, the productive capacity, and it is a capital expenditure. इस statement number 2 अगर हम देखें, so debt and equity financing are sources of funds, not expenditure, right? Now let's move on to the next question. So look at the question number 8. The Constitution of India classifies the ministers into 4 categories: cabinet minister, minister of state independent charge, Minister of State and Deputy Ministers. No, no such classification is made under the Constitution of India. So first statement is absolutely incorrect. Second statement is the total number of ministers in the union government, including the prime minister, shall not exceed 15% of the total number of members in the Lok Sabha. This is absolutely correct. This provision was made by the 91st Constitutional Amendment Act 2003, right? वाजपेयी इरा का अमेंडमेंट है ये। अब यहाँ पे जो काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स है उसके टोटल साइज पे एक कैप फिक्स कर दिया गया है, दैट इज 15% ऑफ द टोटल स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द लोकसभा, राइट। अब दिल्ली के लिए यहाँ पे एक्सेप्शन है। दिल्ली के केस में जैसे दिल्ली की असेंबली का टोटल साइज कितना है 70, तो दिल्ली के केस में जो काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स का साइज है मैक्स साइज दैट इज 10। तो कॉमन सेंस की बात है कि मैक्स 10% है, तो दिल्ली में काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स का टोटल नंबर क्या हो सकता है, दैट इज 7, right? Do remember. So which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? Correct answer would be B, only 2, right? ये UPSC previous years का question था ये, right? So look at this one. Under Article 75(1)(a) inserted by the 91st Constitutional Amendment Act 2003. So maximum cap क्या है Council of Ministers का, that is 15% of the total strength of the Lok Sabha, right? So now let's move on to the next question. So with reference to Suryastra rocket launcher system, consider the following statements. The first one is, it is India's first indigenous universal multi-caliber rocket launcher system. Absolutely correct. Second statement is, it has been developed by NIBE Limited in collaboration with the Israel's Elbit Systems. Which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer is C for Calcutta. Both these statements are correct here, right? Look at the explanation part. You can see that Suryastra is India's first indigenous universal multi-caliber rocket launcher system, right? And it is developed by Pune-based NIBE Limited in collaboration with Israel's Elbit system. So recently an article was published in the Hindu. It says that Army signs deal to procure long-range rocket launcher systems Suryastra. It has signed a 293 crore contract with the NIBE Limited, backed by Israeli technology, for an advanced long-range rocket launcher system in collaboration with Israel, with a strike capability of 150 kilometers to 300 kilometers. तो range क्या हो गई? Range would be 150 kilometers to 300 kilometers. Clear? And it is backed by Israeli technology, right? So now let's move on to the next question. This is the last question of today's session. Consider the following countries. Which of the above have borders with Afghanistan? See, Afghanistan is a fine example of a landlocked country. So Afghanistan forms its border with Pakistan, right? With China, with Turkmenistan, with Uzbekistan, and with Tajikistan. Clear? So Afghanistan forms its border with 6 countries. याद रखिएगा, Pakistan, China, then Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. So Afghanistan doesn't have any border with Azerbaijan and Kyrgyzstan. Correct answer क्या होगा? 3, 4, and 5. So C for Calcutta would be the correct answer here, right? Look at the explanation part. Azerbaijan is separated from Afghanistan by the Caspian Sea and the other countries, whereas Kyrgyzstan does not share a border with Afghanistan. It is located further north in the Central Asian region, right? So correct answer क्या होगा? Correct answer would be 3, 4, and 5. So Afghanistan भी constantly news में है. Why? Because of the clashes between Pakistan and Afghanistan. अब पाकिस्तान और अफगानिस्तान के बीच में कौन सी लाइन है? Which is the line of demarcation? That is Durand line. Clear? So Durand line जो है, that is the line of demarcation between both the countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan, और लगातार दोनों countries के बीच में clashes हो रहे हैं, right? So this was the reason. This was the last question of today's session दोस्तों. मिलेंगे next session में. Bye bye. Take care. जय हिंद.